welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how Arsenal aim to get back on track against Bournemouth at the weekend. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes along with helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 300 subscribers. Can we get my main target, 500? Let's go smash it, shall we? But I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes and all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely going to notice. And just want to say a massive thank you for all the support, really. But let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, at the time of recording, Arsenal will play Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League on Tuesday evening, and for me this is an important game to get back to winning ways, just because they've recently lost in two cup competitions, haven't they? Obviously losing the Carabao Cup final to Man City and losing it in the FA Cup quarter-finals against Southampton 2-1. Now, that was a big shock at the weekend, okay? Can't believe how many times I just said the word big then, but I need to let you know how important it actually was, because losing to a championship side who's sort of, not really doing that great this season, mid-table-ish, almost fighting for the playoffs and whatnot, it's a little bit of a tricky one, because when you think about Arsenal this season being the best team in the Premier League, potentially the best team in Europe, not being able to beat a championship side, it's a bad look for you, isn't it? Especially the players they had at their disposal, considering the amount of squad depth they've got this season. Don't get me wrong, they have a few injuries here and there, to the likes of Bukayo Saka, Abrice Eze, Julian Timber, Mikel Moreno. There's a bit they are missing, 4 to 5 big names in their squad, and they're set to miss them for the Sporting Lisbon game, and potentially, at the game against Bournemouth at the weekend as well. So it is a little bit of a tricky one for them. So when I think about Arsenal this season, can they go and potentially beat Bournemouth? I still think, don't get me wrong, I still think they probably could potentially get the win over the line. They've got more than enough players to do so, haven't they? In that game against Southampton, Havertz is looking pretty good. Gyökeres did score the goal as well. Their midfield in Declan Rice, their two centre backs in William Saliba, Gabriel. When you've got David Raya back in at the weekend, probably against Sporting Lisbon as well. For me, I feel like that will make their defence more secure. Can they go and score some goals? Can they go and score some set pieces against Bournemouth? Potentially, yes. And I think they probably will get back to battle. I think they probably will get back to winning ways against Sporting Lisbon as well. I think the team selection against Sporting Lisbon will sort of determine who will play against Bournemouth as well. Who will they prefer to play a stronger team against? Because I'm pretty sure they're playing Sporting Lisbon away from home in the first leg, so maybe, I don't know, will they put the weaker outside out there first of all, and potentially, play the stronger 11 in that second leg, or will they play the starting 11 in the first leg to try and get it over and done with, and then play, your reserves or your bench options in that second game? We'll have to wait and see. But for me, it is a massive game. This one against Bournemouth, but this is a massive game against Bournemouth, just because, don't get me wrong, they are 9 points ahead of Man City in second place, of course, but you want to keep that lead growing, and you want to keep it growing for as long as possible, don't you? You don't want to let that lead slip away like you've seen other teams do in recent seasons and whatnot. You know, especially Arsenal in recent years. Fighting for those top 4 places, fighting for those second place places as well. In the last 3 years from Mikel Arteta, you need to get that Premier League title over the line now, don't they? More now more than ever, really, don't you? So from that point of view, it is a bit of a tricky one. And when you think about Bournemouth this season, they have been quite impressive, all with all things considering the amount of players they've lost in the summer. I feel like I say this every single time we do a video on Bournemouth. We're looking at Bournemouth. They've lost a lot of players this season, and they've probably exceeded everybody's expectations, just because everybody at the start of the season probably would have expected them to be in a relegation battle or potentially get relegated. Right, so if you think about Bournemouth at the start of the season, they was picking up some good results, weren't they? Antonio Semenyo for the first 6 months was absolutely on fire, killing it still like he was last season. Obviously, he got his big move to Man City, and now their form, some fans almost said that they are playing better without Antonio Semenyo. I'm not too sure if I truly do believe that, just because in the last 5 games, they've drew all 5 games in the Premier League, haven't they, Bournemouth, at the moment? So maybe, after, maybe in February, March times, they probably were playing a little bit better. I don't know. I probably should have done more research on that stats bit, to be completely honest with you. But for me, with the addition of Ryan coming in and the excitement that he brings, for me, he's looking like a top 10 winger in the Premier League at the moment already, and I do really like him. It's just a little bit unfortunate because at the moment, if you look at their record in the Premier League, I think they've won something like 7 games, drew 15, and lost 9. So it's just too many draws, isn't it? 15 draws in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, they are 13th, so they're in a stable, comfortable position to potentially, go on and not get relegated, of course, which is everybody's team, which is everybody's dream at the start of the season, isn't it? But when you think about can they potentially kick on into the top 10 into Europe, I think Europe's a little bit too high at the moment. Potentially top 10 still, maybe if they can creep in a ninth or a 10th place, that could be a good season for them overall, considering the amount of you know losses they've had at the start of the season with all the transfers away from the club. With them losing their main 3 defenders, everybody started thinking there was going to be the relegation battle, but that just isn't the case whatsoever. But they just need to get some more wins on the their belt, don't they? And for me, I think one player that they're potentially missing is Justin Kluivert, because obviously he's been out injured for a while now, hasn't he? And it's not looking like he's going to return anytime soon. So for me, he was outstanding last season. A link-up play with him and Antonio Semenyo, Evan Neilson, the Brazilian striker, those front three was so impressive, so good, and he was like one of the main tallymans in there, main driving forces behind that Bournemouth attack. And for me, I reckon if he wasn't fit and ready to play week in week out, I reckon he would probably be the difference maker in that Bournemouth side, potentially get him a few more wins or turn those draws into wins, if you know what I mean. And he's just got that little bit of magic, hasn't he? He's very good at dribbling. He's very good one on one. He's very good at getting the chances, scoring those goals as well for his side. It's just unfortunate that he's been out missing for a lot of the season. But when we think about this game, at the time of recording, we'll have to wait and see whether or not Arsenal beat Sporting. Fitz Gyökeres coming back to his former team. That whole little storyline there is quite impressive. We'll have to wait and see if he can score some goals. I'm pretty sure he scored for Sweden to send them to the World Cup in 2026, and also he scored against Southampton even though it didn't really mean anything. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I think this game against Sporting is a massive one because they need to get a win under their belts to get that motivation back to potentially sway them back forward in the Premier League, so make sure they don't slip from the Premier League against Bournemouth at the weekend. And yeah, let's end the video with some questions, Kate. It's only a short one today, but how do we feel about Arsenal losing against Southampton, potentially winning or losing against Sporting in the first leg? How do we feel about Victor Gyökeres going back against his former club? Can Arsenal get back on track against Bournemouth in the Premier League, or could Bournemouth almost cause a nice little slip up? Could they get a good result against Arsenal as well? Who are the main stars for Bournemouth? Can the likes of Ryan, Evan Neilson, all these other players in there for Bournemouth potentially do something magical against them? And yeah, where's the highest position Bournemouth can finish at the end of the season as well? But yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes along with helping me build a small community on my channel. I really do appreciate all the support. We've recently just hit 300 subscribers, and can we go and do my main target 500? I'll be absolutely over the moon, honestly. I'll be so buzzed with all the support. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the likes and comments on social media, as well as my episodes. It definitely does go unnoticed, and yeah, I really do hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.